Oh, man. Wow. Here we go. Let's do this again. Oh, my goodness. Just sharing this. Hold on, guys. I have to laugh. Have to laugh. Woo! Goodness gracious, I have to laugh. So hopefully some of you will yeah. Some of you will be back. Maybe not. Maybe not. Wow, sounds good. Thanks, baby. Again, I'm feeling deja vu here, Bib. I'm feeling deja vu. I know. Let me tell you how quirky this was. Like, I'm talking, we talking pumpkin spice protein drinks, we talking chocolate and vanilla, we talking about cancel culture, we talking about people reacting on my post yesterday. We talking about it all, and then suddenly, poof. And I don't mean electric. I mean just computer, camera, microphone, everything went. And I sat here for a minute and I said, take this a couple of ways. Either I didn't see an update on the computer that I always check for every day, maybe, or there is something here in this devotional and in this talk between us that somebody didn't want you, in particular you, to hear. And here we are. And it is taking me this long to get back up. This long. I mean, I almost gave up. So if you're back, say hi. Let me know that you're here. I don't always see the names as they come in. But there's something here for somebody. Now, I don't know if that somebody's you or not. I don't know. I'm not going to prejudge that because, Lord, everything I talk about, I feel like is for me. Are you kidding? Hey, Gwenda, good to see you. So if you're thinking, Molly, you're kind of on a little bit late. No, I was on earlier and everything went to hell in a handbag on the computer. I don't even know. I don't even know. So anyways, so if you want to see the first 10 minutes, you can go back. I didn't delete it. There was a lot of good stuff on there too. So if you want to go back and look at that, you can. I am what is, and plus I read something on there that I want everybody to hear. So please go back and listen to that 10 minutes. It is most definitely worth it. It ends with, and this is what's scary. Let's see if it happens again. Matter of fact, I'm going to say it again on here. It could happen again. I read this and I wanted to share this with you, so I need you to listen to this. I don't know what hard realities you are facing today, but I want to encourage you with what I do know to be true. It will all be turned upside down in eternity. Grief will turn into joy, heartbreak to shouts of thanksgiving, crowns of thorns to crowns of gold. The world says it's over. God declares not until He says so. The world says it's final. God reminds us He always has the final say. The world says impossible. God comforts our soul by whispering, in Him all things are possible. The world says, give up. God says, look up. I don't know all the ways my story will go while we're here on earth, but I know with confidence how my story ends. Jesus wins. Now you hear me, and you go back and you watch it. If you watch that other 10 minutes that I started with, when I said Jesus wins, everything shut down on me on this computer. Every single thing shut down. My sound wouldn't come back. My camera wouldn't come back. My computer was going crazy. Coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in them at all. I think everything can be used. Sarah! See, Sarah, you weren't here in the first 10 minutes when everything went crazy, but Sarah just showed up. Love you. Good to see you, baby. Hey, I saw them wonderful pictures of you and your handsome man. It was kind of good to see that. Sometimes I don't see all your stuff. I know I don't. But it was good to see you. I'm so glad you popped in. I love you. I love you. Let's see who else is with us. So we said Gwenda. Yeah, Gwenda, you were on here earlier. It was freaky. For me here, Gwenda, it was freaky. Like all of a sudden, bam. Like, what forces are working against me now? Crazy, crazy stuff. Um, let's see here. Janetta, hey Janetta, I see you on here too. So glad that you're here. Hi Angela, good to see you. Um, so yeah. So anyways, that was it. So it was just kind of weird. Jesus wins, and then everything goes out. Oh, you got goosebumps? I got goosebumps. Just saying. So so here we are. So we were talking about cancel culture, how everybody wants to cancel everybody, and everybody wants to cancel everything. And here's the deal here. Um, the deal here is that I believe a lot of this came about according to when COVID came around. And I think people were going a little crazy. That's what I think. I love you too. We just get better as we get older, Mama. Yes, you do. Let me tell you, both of you. Both of you. I ran across some pictures the other day, Sarah, if you're still here, and of us at an event. And I think it's the last one we were at together. And can I just say, girl, we look as good now as we did then. Just saying, girl, you remember? It's all good. I know, it's all good. Hi, Deborah. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. I have some errands to run. Okay, babe, just catch the replay. Like, thank God for replays, right? Be safe, Gwenda. Um, so, anyways, it was everybody. I think was in such havoc during COVID. I mean, honestly, like COVID was like something we watched in the movies from Hollywood. Stuff shutting us down, couldn't be near anybody, couldn't yes, Sarah, for sure, couldn't love on people, everybody's wearing masks, people who had loved ones in the hospital, we lost people. If you didn't lose anybody personally, you obviously knew somebody who did. People had to die alone. It was like the only thing we were missing were the zombies, no lie. I mean, like, I just have to say that, like I am a fan of The Walking Dead. Like I watched that show. I'm weird like that, but I love that. I think I get it from my sons because they're like into horror and everything. So, but I thought the only thing we're missing here is the zombies. Okay, babe, love you, love you, love you, love you. Mwah. Um, but it was crazy. Everything was crazy during that time, and who would have ever thought it would have gone on as long as it did, right? And with all that, we suddenly everybody decided to take everything personally. Maybe it was because we were all bottled up in a house. I don't know. Or maybe because we were all bottled up with our kids. Um, Maybe it's because we feel like every last freedom we had was taken away. And look, and I get it. This isn't if or not. They were trying to protect us. They were trying to do this. We're not getting into all that. That's not what this is about. What I'm saying is it was really, really a hard time. It was a hard time. But I think that a lot of people at that time too just it became very evident that there were a lot of people who were trying to cancel God in all of this. There were a lot of people who wanted people to lose their faith in all of this. That no matter how bad the world was or is, and look, guys, we're not in COVID, but one thing's for sure, things aren't great now either. I mean, our economy sucks, and we're all just trying to find our way and keep a roof over our head and do what we need to do, right? um, but I think that the my one steady through all of it has been that no matter how bad it is, God is still there. He is still there. And even if you think, but I can't feel him, I can't feel him, and I can't feel him in the moment. I don't feel him during this thing going on in my life. I don't feel him during my divorce. I don't feel him as I'm with my loved one who is sick. I don't feel it when I'm on the outs with my kids. I don't feel it during the times of loss. It's because your loss or whatever you're going through is so great, but he is there. And by the way, just because he's there, I think a lot of people think that when God is there in the moment, like everything's just going to be solved. Nope, nope. That's really not how it works. Okay, it doesn't work that way. God is not a genie who comes out of a bottle and just fixes everything for you. And I think if people stop that, I believe that they would realize that God gives us the ability to hang on to Him in His hope that He has us, but that walking with Him, we can get through it. There is an old saying that says, and there will be a lot of people who disagree with me here, okay? And that's okay. You're allowed to disagree with me, who say that God doesn't give us more than we can handle. I don't think that's true. I know we've heard it all our lives. I think if you've come through it, you have proved that with God how strong you can be. But I have to tell you, with so much in my life that I have had trickle into my life, from losses to family, grief to problems in business to the fear of what you're going to lose, the bottomless hurt and anguish and emptiness of when you do lose somebody. And you know what? I just don't think that that's what God intended for all of us. But yet here we are in life trying to live this life. And I believe that my belief now is I can get through anything. Because I don't know about you, but have you ever looked back at something that you have gotten through? Honestly, have you ever looked back? I have. I mean, many times. And have you ever said, how in the world did I get through that? Like, how did I get through that 2 years? How did I get through COVID? How did I get through um, those years after my mom died, when I had nobody, when my dad put me out and chose another family over me? How in the world did I not go completely the other way? Because I was so angry at God then, I might as well have been flipping Him off too, because I blamed Him for my mom dying. I blamed Him for my family being in disarray. And although it wasn't the right place to place my blame on things in life, hey Tracy, good to see you. Even though it shouldn't have been that, I shouldn't have done that. The point is, what I missed is that He was walking with me through all of it, even when I didn't want Him to. God will take a back seat when you make Him. God will sit over there on the other stands, but he's always got His eyes on you. He's always watching, because see, we live a life of choices. We are not puppets. God does not say, "Oh, go do this and everything's going to be okay." God does not say, "Oh, oops, she's going here. Let me pick her up and put her back on the right path." No, that's not what happened, y'all. That's not what happens. See, you get to choose your path. You get to choose it. And then if it's not a great path, let's be honest. If it's not a great path, you're obviously going to learn something. It's either going to bring you back to where you need to be. It's going to bring you back to somebody that maybe you should be in touch with. It's going to bring you closer to God. It is going to be what it's going to be 100%. But it is not because, people want to, well, I can't believe that God let that accident happen. Or I can't believe that God let that drunk driver get in the car. I'm sorry. How many times? It's not about God letting. Guys, we live in a world of free choice. Of free choice of what we choose to do. And a lot of times what we choose brings heartbreak, and a lot of times it has nothing to do with us, and it's somebody else's choice that brings the heartbreak. Sometimes, you think about people who have taken their own lives, and I have to believe that in their right mind, I have to believe that if they really thought about the people who they were leaving behind and what it was going to do to them, what it was going to create for them when that happened, I believe that in their right mind, they could have possibly made a different decision. Because when I look at the aftermath of suicides, and whatever they were upset about, whatever was on their mind, it's for them, yes, it ends, but for the people that they loved, for the people they left behind, it just stirs so much. Hey, Christine, good to see you. It just stirs so much, so much. And but you know what happens if you choose to keep going, if you choose to step back up, and if you choose to wipe the tears until you cry again, or you keep crying as you get back up, whatever that looks like, there's no judgment. But if you decide that somewhere along the line you may not understand what happens, you may not understand what went on, but what you do understand is we have a God that's much greater than that, and what he's looking for is who's going to hold on to him through the storm. Through the storm. Are you going to, look, when you lose somebody suddenly, and look, I knew my mom had cancer. We found out in July that she had cancer, but my mom was gone by the end of October. I didn't even have time to process, and I was 16. But you know what? My dad lived a long life, and I wasn't close to my dad. I just tried to honor him the best way I could, but I had to do it from over there because dad just didn't know how to be a dad. And when I lost my brother Mike, I wanted him to do the right things. I wanted him to take care of him. I wanted him to just know that God could get him through, that he could get up back up on his feet. I wanted all that for him. But when Michael didn't choose it, and then things happened, and Mike was in the accident and he died, I felt like even months afterwards, processing what happened, not staying stuck on God. Why? Why? Why didn't this go different? Why didn't it? Sometimes it's freak stuff, it's accidents, it's a drunk driver who hits a completely innocent person. And I believe God mourns that with us. I believe that he sees, because of choices that people made, that other people pay for it, or just who knows. But what I know is he doesn't mean for us to deal with these valleys alone. And the other thing I feel like he doesn't do is he doesn't tell us to cancel people because they believe differently. God's goodness, even in this world where there is a lot going on that makes me shake my head like, what? Like, I don't even get it. I don't get it. I don't get people's choices. I don't get how people are letting things affect our children. I can't believe that people are not protecting their children more. I can't believe how powerful the almighty dollar is, and a lot of times people choose that and their status on everything before they choose their kids, before they choose their relationships, before they choose their marriages. Everything is all about that, the almighty dollar. And look, I don't think money's bad. Believe me, money helps the world go round. If you have a little bit more of it, it definitely makes it easier. But how are you treating money? Is money your God? Oh, if you don't have this. See, God's never really let me experience that. He has always provided. He has always made a way. In times when he's made a way and I've had $1.29 left in the bank account at the end of the month, I have had to praise him all the way through that, because to be real honest, I saw myself at negative 57 many times in my life, and somehow or other that didn't happen. Sometime or other, through the toughest of times, God showed up. And a lot of those times I certainly did not give him the benefit of the doubt that it was him who made that extra day of work when somebody couldn't show up and they needed a waitress, when they needed somebody at Target, and I shouldn't have had those hours, and bam, here I am, right? Like all of a sudden, I keep thinking, but here's the deal. I could have said no, right? So you go, oh, Molly, well, God provided that, and that's great. Do you know how many times God opens a door in his goodness, but it's that we don't walk through it? We don't choose to walk through. He will open something, and because of how we're feeling, because of where we're at in our life, because it's not a good day, whatever that is, he will open something and you will just walk right past the door. I've done it. I have no idea, had I chose differently, where I would be in so many instances of my life. Now, do I go back? Do I stay stuck on maybe what was a bad decision? I don't. I don't stay stuck on that because that's not what he wants. And we all know hindsight's 2020. That's another thing we've heard, right? But you don't stay stuck on that. But what I do is I feel like I take my steps more carefully. I feel like I don't just jump. I stop and I pray. Sounds crazy, right? It's not. I stop and I pray. And do you want to know what I pray a lot of times? Y'all are going to laugh at me. My prayer, hey Raj, good to see you, babe. My prayer a lot of times is, God, I don't know if this is the right decision for me. Matter of fact, God, I'm really, really scared. But could you do me a favor? God, if you really think that this big, huge ball of something I'm getting ready to do, if this is right for me, if this is the direction that you want me to go, can I be honest with you? Can I just say, could you hit me over the head with a 2x4? I mean, don't poke me. Don't poke me. Don't just set me in the right direction. Like, could you put as many things as you can in my path to tell me, girl, this is it. I think it's okay to ask God for a little bit more direction because you know what that creates? That creates a little bit more conversation with God. And do you know what he loves? Do you know what he loves? He loves conversation with us. God always gets it right as far as what he wants for us. But you know what? A lot of times we don't take that direction. A lot of times we decide we just going to do what we want to do. Oh, well, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's really true. You're right. It does. But I find that if I stop and I say, God, let me tell you something. If I ask God, and God bless, y'all know I love some Chick-fil-A, but if I had, you people who are stopping at Chick-fil-A every single day, because it is God's chicken. I don't care what anybody says, that is God's chicken, okay? I love to me some chicken sandwich. I love everything about it. But I do not believe that even though it's God's chicken, that he is directing me to go there every single day to eat food that I probably don't need every single day. And I don't think, as much as I love McDonald's French fries, or how about my honey bun cake, I don't think that means I'm supposed to have a fresh one made every day for me to dig into, because I'm not going to be around long, or my butt's going to be much bigger than it already is, right? So again, we have choices. Sure, we can, but what is good for us? Hey Kim, good to see you. Lee says we often let our ego block us from going through the door God opens because it doesn't look like how we envisioned it. Lee, no greater truth. You ever seen a door open in your life and to you it doesn't look like really what you were looking for? Have you ever said, maybe fear says, nope, I'm just going to keep going down this path right here because I don't even know if I want a new door. I don't know if I want that. I don't know. I don't know. And in reality, had we gone through that door, had we let go of our ego and our pride and what we want, or the fact that you have to start over, or the fact that it may be a new job for you, or maybe you have to move and go somewhere that you've never planned on being before, that you're losing the place that you've been, but that doesn't mean that God cannot direct you and put you on a better path. Roger says, I find 100 reasons to say why not to do it, but never focus on why I should. Roger, that is, you are not alone, dear. You are not alone. I think that's a lot of us. And if I were to venture, it's probably more like 80% of us who we find all the reasons when really what's keeping us bound to what we're at is fear. And it's also just, what would we call it? Comfort zone. This is what I've always known, so this is what I want to do. If somebody feels like, well, maybe I should be checking out a new church, or maybe I should be looking at a new job. I know they're not treating me well, but you know what? But I know all the people here. I know, but this is what I'm used to. I know, but learning something new is hard. I know, but this. I know, but that. It isn't any different. We find all the reasons that we should stay stuck. Instead of saying the only way to get unstuck is to stop listening to all those other voices in our head and possibly moving on. Cancel culture. People canceling people because they don't believe exactly how they believe. You know what? God made us all different. He gave us many skin colors. He gave us many languages. He gave us many hair colors. He gave some of us a sense of humor and others not so much. He gave some people a heart that was going to be needed, that other people can lean in, because he knew that some people were not going to be as strong. He made some of us tall and some of us short. The point is, we are all different. And a lot of times there are different thoughts out there. Hey, Julie, but the truth of the matter is, canceling something due to thinking differently. Wow. Do you not realize somebody that you've canceled out of your life because they voted differently than you, because they're a different religion than you? There are so many, maybe because, look, I feel like I could cancel people who eat liver and onions if I wanted to. Because I don't like how it smells. I don't like how it tastes. I never liked serving it as a waitress. But you know where I lucked out? I just realized people are on a bad journey there with liver and onions, but I'm going to love them through it. Oh, hey, Pam. I didn't know Pam was on here. Hey, Pam, good to see you, my friend. Truth, man. Truth of the matter. I don't have to love liver and onions for me to love you. I am not going to cancel you because you love liver and onions. By the way, let me get deeper. I'm not going to cancel you because your husband hunts. I'm not going to cancel you because you're a vegan. I'm not going to cancel you because you're gluten-free. Now, it does make my cooking a little bit more difficult when you come to my house, but I'm going to love you regardless. If you are Catholic and you are Jewish and you're Jehovah's Witness and let me tell you something. God didn't tell me to love people who were in the same religion. God tells me to love people, and I don't remember anywhere in the Bible where I have ever heard anything mentioned about canceling people. And canceling people because of politics? Are you serious? Are you serious? So there is nothing else to love about these people who have been family, who have been friends, who have been people you've associated with. Maybe you went to school with them. So you're telling me because you have a differing opinion, like liver and onions or steak, liver and onions or green beans, for all you vegans, just saying. Are you telling me that there is no other value in a person besides the fact that they don't believe exactly how you believe? Do you really believe that's what God intended? And I ask that because it's always amazing that when I go to people's profiles and I read about them, I hear all about, loves Jesus, serves Jesus. I love God. Oh, me and God, we got it going on. I see that, but yet what you're saying and what you're practicing is absolutely two different things. Two different things. I have learned with a lot of things in my life, but especially, I can say different times. In the last 3 years of my life, I have learned again how to pay attention, not to what people tell me, but what people do. Don't tell me how wonderful something is, but you're not doing anything to help it be wonderful. Don't tell me that you are this person who is full of life and you love Jesus and that you just love everybody, and then the moment The moment you see somebody scrolling through your Instagram or scrolling through your Facebook and you see that somebody is for Trump or Kamala, you eat them up, you chew them up again, and you spit them out. Because they differ than you? You want to cancel them? Wow. Remind me, friendships like that, if that's who you are, yeah, I don't need that in my life. It is okay to go, I don't even understand that. I don't understand people who love liver and onions. I don't get it. But you know what? They're not making me eat liver and onions. I can still be their friend. If you want Trump, if you want Kamala, if you want to rent, if you want to own, we could go on and on and on. Do you want a truck? Do you want a car? Let me tell you something. You can have any opinion you want. It is your opinion. You have to know why you want that. I'm not saying that I even get all the reasons that people want certain people in office. I don't. What I want is I want a country that is safe. I want a country that is prosperous again. And I want people who do what they say they're going to do when it comes to my country, because I love the United States of America so much. I love our country. I love our freedoms. I don't want to see them lost. But I'm not going to hate anybody who doesn't want that. Hey, there are lots of other countries people can go if they don't like it, right? I mean, I'm just saying. There are people out there who will eat liver and onions with other people. I'm okay with that. Doesn't mean I'm going to fix them. And you know I love to cook. I used to have to fix it in the restaurant that I worked at. And the whole time I was like this. Mm. And I'd have to go to the table and smile. Oh, liver and onions for you. Okay, here you go. Get that stuff off my arm because I can't send away it smell. But I smiled the whole way. But you know what? Those people were the best customers. They were the best tippers. They just had a different taste than I did. But we're too busy canceling people for the stupidest crap I've ever seen in my life. You're like, well, Molly, it works for me. It works for me. I mean, if this is how they think, oh my goodness. You know, suddenly we need another band that says, what would Jesus do? Just to remind ourselves, what would Jesus do? Yeah, what would Jesus do? I know one thing. He gave me 2 commandments. I think the same 2 you see in the Bible. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and love people. Not just love people who don't love liver and onions. Not just people who vote like you do. Not just people who rent or own. Not just people who are Jewish or Catholic or whatever it looks like. Really, honestly, I don't know. I'm a person who doesn't even want to pick a religion these days. They all seem a little messed up to me, but you know what I do? I love me some Jesus, and I love what he did on the cross for me. And I love the fact that even when I was God's worst follower, when I was the person who would rather rant at him and yell at him and tell him to get out of my life and to leave me alone because he was the cause of everything bad in my life, that it had to be God, it couldn't be anybody else, that he stuck around and he saw me through it. Because during my deepest days coming forward, I needed him. Listen to what Liza says about this COVID thing. Let's jump right into this. In 2020, COVID-19 not only spread across the world at record levels, but it also spread across our daily realities and changed so much for so many. What we saw in the news truly felt like something we'd only see in a Hollywood movie, not real life. Because of the life-threatening potential of the virus, social distancing and canceled gatherings were required precautions. While all of this was necessary, it was also very jarring and alarming. It was like life just slammed on the brakes. We were all reeling from the whiplash. Certainly, in the grand scheme of things, saving lives is always most important. But it left me with all kinds of emotions to process in the middle of all the changes. One of these emotions was the very real feeling of disappointment. Please know, processing our disappointments is not only okay, it's emotionally and spiritually necessary. It's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to cry about the spilt milk. You're not making light of someone else's serious pain when you process your pain to gain a better perspective. With that as the anthem playing in the background, I want to recall some of the circumstances that were hard on me and those I loved during the time of COVID-19. In just a matter of a few weeks, I helped a friend navigate her canceled wedding. My husband had to close the dining room of his restaurant. Many loved ones lost their source of income as businesses closed and couldn't reopen. Schools closed and canceled sports, plays, graduations, and other events students had worked hard towards and looked forward to for years. Family gatherings were canceled. People we know and love got sick and some didn't recover. Loved ones had to try to say goodbye over FaceTime when they got the excruciating news there was nothing more that could be done. Everything we thought we would be doing in that season looked vastly different than we expected, and the feeling of loss that followed, well, that was real. As Christians, how do we set our minds and hearts on things above when we are staring at startling realities? Here are some things I wrote in my journal during the time of COVID-19 that helped me. Number one, frame the disappointment by remembering what you do have so you don't get consumed by what's been taken away. I need you to know I read this a few months ago. I've already been through this. I had some huge disappointments in my life. We don't need to go through them. I was remembering what was, remembering what I wanted to still have, but what I had to do, I had to start looking at what I did have in front of me and not be consumed over the anger and the hurt and what I felt was the lack of caring for everything I was losing. It's incredibly emotional when you've dreamed and planned and invested in what you thought would be a very normal expectation, and then your hopes are hijacked, sometimes by other people's decisions, other times by other people's actions. But what you know is what you thought you had and what you worked on for so long was now gone through no fault of your own. But I had to remember this. Being good to other people has not been canceled. Learning, growing, maturing, that has not been canceled. The need to grieve and get counseling has not been canceled. Fun, laughing, silliness, not taking everything to heart has not been canceled, y'all. Because if that's been canceled, you're following the wrong person, because I'm a whole bunch of all that, just saying. And above all, love has not been canceled. Whether you show it or not is up to you. And if you're basing who you love based on what's been given back, that's not love. That's conditional love. Be honest about what you need. And be ever mindful that though COVID-19 changed a lot, it did not change God. It did not change his character. It did not change his love and care for people. It did not change his plans to take everything we face and use it to grow us, mature us, and make us even more prepared for a good future. Are you looking for that? This disappointment may be a delay. It may be a distraction, even a devastation for a season. But this is not your final destination. God's goodness is not canceled. Rest in that, rejoice in that, and be very reassured because of that. Number 2, as you remember who God is, use that to bring some perspective into your disappointment. God is a protector. He is protecting you from something you can't see. See, I had to see that. I had to see that about a year ago. Molly, you don't like what's going on. You don't like what's happening. You don't like that you can't stop it. You don't like, Molly, that you don't have any control over this and that you can't help others through it. You don't like it, Molly. But Molly, God has something prepared for you that's coming. Something is coming that you can't see, Molly. God is never going to just let something happen without knowing that that something can be used to direct you to something that might be safer for you, something that might be better for you, something that may challenge you, but yet we can't see it. God is a provider. He is providing something if only we'll look for it. Have you ever been just disappointed and you just basically said, I quit. I quit. I don't even care what comes after this. I quit. I quit because if this can be as bad as it's been, I don't care. And I quit. Until you remove that attitude of just not wanting to see what could be better, who God could bring into your life, what situation is behind a new door. If you don't continue walking, if you don't say, I'm going to get by the devastation, if you don't say, I'm going to get by the disappointment, you will never reach the door that He has planned for you in the midst of your sadness, in the midst of your anger, in the midst of your hesitance, in the midst of, I just don't know. I got nothing here. His provision is different sometimes, but it doesn't mean it isn't good. Look. Nobody likes leaving the comfort of what they've always known and move on to something different. But I'm here to tell you that whatever provision in the middle of a storm or after the storm, when you feel wrecked and havocked and felt like you can't go on, it doesn't mean that if there's something different in front of you, that it's not meant to be good if you embrace it and give it a chance. God is faithful no matter what disappointments is taking you, where it's taking you right now, what disappointment is wreaking havoc in your life. God has a place for you if you will place it in His hands. God has a new place for you, a new something for you, if you will place the old in His hands. Give it to Him as your sacrifice. For whatever we willingly place in the hands of God, He will redeem it. Now, He may not redeem it in the way in your direction, in what you want Him to do. I just want Him to fix this. That's all I'm asking. Could you just fix this? Sometimes toys that are broken, a refrigerator that's broken, a dishwasher, a car, sometimes, y'all, it's just done. It's just done. There ain't no fixing it. And in that case, place it in His hands, and He will redeem and give you something to move forward to. Number 3, resist the temptation to write out worst case scenarios. Now listen, I talk about this and I wanted to skip this step because I'm so guilty of it. I will see something and I swear to you, I will think the absolute worst scenario. Like it could be, oh my gosh, I'm late on this bill. And because I'm late on one bill, I immediately have myself evicted. And by the way, it ain't even the rent payment. Like, oh my gosh, my life is over. My credit's going to go to crap. What's going on? What's happening here? And I immediately have just got myself living in my car. I was that person at one time. I need you to know that. And it would be so easy to turn into that person again. But we write out, and in our head, we write out the worst scenario. And I'll never forget one time I was watching Steve Harvey on one of his shows. I don't even know if he still has a show. But I remember him telling somebody who was doing that 80% of what you worry about, what you think can happen, will never happen. 80%, y'all. 80%, y'all. So we're giving ourselves gray hair. We're wreaking havoc on our health. We are just freezing in mid step, not doing anything because we're worried about what could happen. And 80% of the time, that will never be the end result. It can be so easy to let today's disappointments get blown out of proportion and make you expect the absolute worst for tomorrow. I'm challenging myself not to mentally run too far into the unknown. I need to stop rushing to the future and writing the script of the worst case scenario. Because that's what we do. We just rush exactly where we're going to be in 3 months. We're like, okay, I knew I was going to be here because we've got ourselves played out and the worst disappointment, the worst outcome that could happen. Often, what I expect tomorrow to bring will start to play out in my attitude. Have you ever done that? Have you ever had yourself so convinced how something that's going to be, like it's not even happening, but you already have the attitude as though it has happened? Like you're already like, I'm prepared. Like I've got that can't stand life attitude. I'm just going to live it right now because I know what's coming. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to tell everybody to pound sand. Yeah. You ever done that? I mean, am I the only one being honest here that like I am the one who can live out the disappointment that I haven't even seen take place yet? My goodness. I think in some weird way that if I expect hurt and heartbreak and hardships, this protects me from getting caught off guard. But in reality, when I do this, my negativity pulls me away from trusting in God, loving people, and enjoying what you have in the day. I have let situations in my life concerning my family and different things get me so worked up that I will, in essence, not even pay attention to the fact that I have got a husband, blind or not, who is with me every day, supporting whatever I want, whatever we need together as a team, who says, hey, baby, never forget I'm still here. And instead of concentrating on the blessings that I have in the moment, that I have my health, that I have my husband, that my bills are paid, whatever that looks like, I am so busy feeling negative and harsh and overthinking something that I can't control, that I ruin what God has given me in the moment. And by the way, if you have any of those things that I just mentioned, there are many people who don't, and they would give their right arm to have somebody standing beside them who's supportive, knowing that their bills are paid. Whatever that looks like, you think it's small, having food in the refrigerator, knowing that the kids are going to eat, even if it's peanut butter and jelly. There are people out there who would give anything just to have what you have in the today, in the now. Whatever disappointment you are facing today, now is the time to feed your faith and fuel your healthy perspectives. Make the choice today. Maybe say the prayer, God, today I declare that these disillusioning disappointments and blinding fear don't get to be the boss of me. I am ruled by the peace of Christ, and I will use his truth to frame all I see. Even when I'm walking through hard seasons, help me to have the attitude of Jesus. Man, I have to pray that on a daily basis, especially with people on Facebook. People wanting to come after me. People wanting to, take anything that I write and fit it to their own agenda. I'm like, dude, if I'm after your agenda, let me tell you something. Do you not know me? I'm going to absolutely spell it out. It's going, I'm going to spell it out. But stop. You're so offended. We have such an offended. You want to be, I'm not offended for me. I'm offended for everybody else. Well, stop it. If they're offended, let them be offended. Stop taking everybody's offendedness. That's not even a word. I just made it up. Write it down. Offendedness. Stop it. If you're supposed to laugh, if it's supposed to be funny, could you just laugh? Because if you don't, you do not need to be following me. You need to just unfriend me, unfollow me, because I know I put a lot of life stuff out there. I know I put what I've gotten through. I know I put a lot of what I do out there. I know that I try to drop some knowledge of living because I don't got a lot of other knowledge. But one thing is for sure, when I find something that I think is funny, even if it's a little off color, I'm going to post it because that is who I am. And if you can't embrace who I am, that is not my fault. That is your fault. That is you. I love you regardless, but yeah, like somebody came on yesterday just attacking. And then what that happened is it led to people wanting to defend me, which I don't need, but I love them. I appreciate them. But when it happens over and over again, like you are just waiting for somebody to post something so you can jump on them. So it's like you have a knife behind your back, so you can stab them. You know what? I'm going to pray for you. Because that's got to be a horrible way to live. It's got to be really bad that you cannot find the joy in the moment. Well, you don't understand. My life is hard and I've had people, but I'm not the people who did that to you. Quit attacking me and others for something that somebody else did for you, and quit thinking that everybody is the same. That must be a horrible way to live, that you have just put everybody in the same bucket of life, that they're going to be as miserable as you are. No. And it's not going to stop me either, because I'm going to keep being Mama Molly. I'm going to keep sharing. And I'm going to keep making sure that I share with you that God's goodness has not been canceled. That his love has not been canceled, but he never promised easy. You're never going to find anywhere in the Bible, in my opinion, ever have I never have I ever found that, but he will promise to walk that journey with you. So I hope this has helped. Whether it will or not, I don't know. There's 2 parts. So you're watching right now. If you're watching this, I'm getting ready to break the live here, but this is part 2. Because there's something about this part 2 that somebody didn't want you to hear. Or maybe somebody didn't show up for part 1 and God said, hold up. I know your computer went all dingbatty, but somebody else needs to hear this. So we're going to hold you off for about 35 minutes, Molly, and then you're going to come back on and you're going to speak the truth that I gave you. So if you're here and you needed this, or if you're watching the replay and you needed this, you can thank God for that, because that was all him, because I was pissed. I was pissed that it went out in the middle. But you know what? I got to embrace it, right? I got to embrace it. God had another plan in this. He decided to use it at a different time frame today. That's where we're at. I wish for you a life of not letting people cancel you, but also pay attention to what you could be canceling. Don't let people cancel God's goodness in your life, because you're the only one who can control that. It hasn't gone anywhere. It is there. And surround yourself with the people who are letting people be who they want to be. Stop hating on them. That doesn't mean you got to go swap spit with them. If there's somebody that you know you definitely ain't going to get along with, I'm not telling you go love all over them, buy them dinner, get them dessert while you're at it, and why don't you just buy them a car too? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can love people from over there and you don't have to attack people, because in no way is that showing God's grace. Somebody wants to have a conversation with you, you know what that means? Have a conversation with them. Speak the truth. Show some respect. Let them speak their truth, even if you agree to disagree. That is you showing God's love when you can walk away and still love them and be in their life afterwards. You want to know the hardest thing? That's it. Right there. That's it. It's a choice. Like it or not, it's a choice. What will you choose? I hope you find something good in your life today. And if right now you feel like you're sitting in a pile of muck, I'm telling you, pick yourself up, call on God, and choose that you will go onward no matter what. Because it's no matter what here that really counts. Will you use the action to do that, or will you simply just talk the talk, walk the walk? Love you guys, and I'll see you next week.